Hello. It is my great honor to introduce my friend, Agata Smogorzewska.
Perfect.
She is a physician, scientist at Rockefeller University. She leads the laboratory of genome maintenance, where her team studies how cells repair DNA damage by focusing on rare conditions like Fanconi anemia. Her work is helping us better understand cancer risk and improving long-term health for people with FA. Thank you very much, everybody. Agata.
It's a real pleasure to be here. I started to come to these meetings in 2007, so it's been a while, and that's how long I've been studying Fanconi anemia. But my focus has really moved to cancer, and now hopefully helping prevent cancer. So this is a study that we are currently setting up. This is a prevention trial in Fanconi anemia. Thank you to all of you who have given us feedback, and you can still provide feedback for this trial. It will be run in two places. One will be the Rockefeller University, in collaboration with Dr. David Cutler from Weill Cornell, who will be coming in to work with us for this study. It will be led by Frank May, who hopefully will meet here. He's probably in the brushing room. Tamar Berger, who has been looking at biomarkers, Fanconi patient, and Chen Lin. And this is also a collaboration with NIH, BC Cancer, and the German Fanconi team. Why do we want to have a cancer prevention? It is really the best way to treat cancers in Fanconi is to prevent them. We'd like to help prevent them. We're going to be using two different drugs. One is metformin, which is a diabetic drug. One is naproxen, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. You might know it by being Aleve, where it will be in two sites that I mentioned, and hopefully at some point we'll be expanding that so you have a better access trial. We want to start the enrollment in January after IRB approval and FDA exemption. Because these drugs are generally safe in the general population, we are hoping to get an extension. We also, in the future, would like to combine the drugs. We're not there yet. FDA generally does not like to give exemptions for combination of drugs, so this is why we are going to test safety and feasibility with each drug separately. Additional points, this is a research study. Travel and accommodations will be covered by the study, and there will be a small per visit payment. I added this today when I realized two participants, not from you to us. Okay, so for the brushings and for those who've worked with us know that there is a small payment. So this is our study. We hope to have it running in January, 24 months study. There are three arms. One arm is pre-intervention observation period. So for 6 months, I'll tell you what happens at each visit. Then participants will be on metformin or naproxen. There will be a 2-week period where participants are not on any drug. They'll switch the drugs, and then we'll observe for another 6 months. There will also be an observation arm. So some of you might not be able to take metformin, might not be able to take naproxen, but we'd still, or you're already taking metformin, for example. We would like to have you still participate and learn about the natural progression of these changes. So what do we do during these visits? We have the brushing and the screening visits. So there is only brushing, blood, and potentially skin biopsy, although that might not be necessary. The 6-month visit includes brushing, and also if there are lesions, there will be a surgical biopsy of one of those lesions performed by Dr. Upgard at Minnesota or Dr. Cutler. That will repeat every 6 months. If there is no surgical biopsy, there are no lesions, there will not be a surgical biopsy. But the brushing will tell us, you didn't have a chance to listen to Tamar Berger, but what we do at Rockefeller is we look for biomarkers, so changes, molecular changes that are present in 25% of patients that we've studied so far. And they're biomarkers. They're telling us that there is a potentially precancerous lesion, but usually those lesions will not become cancerous until like 10 years later. But they're a great way of looking for changes that might be disappearing with these treatments. But because that's a research study, we really need to depend on the surgical biopsy, because that's sort of a standard readout for clinical trials in head and neck cancer. I already mentioned that we want to eventually do a combination of metformin and naproxen, and we might speed up things if this is a very successful arm, these two, the first two drugs, and maybe we'll start thinking about applying to FDA for combination. These are the inclusion and exclusion criteria. Inclusion, we take adults at this stage. It's much harder to do trials in children, and children also might not have any of those biomarkers yet, right? But we are actually working on getting more sensitive biomarkers, and some of you who are in our brushing study know that we have a little small foam tip that we ask you to brush just the buccal mucosa, just the inside of the cheeks, and that will actually look for 239 different genes and variants in that very sensitive technique, and much easier than swabbing 6 different sites. So we are actually starting with, some of you have participated in that, and we're hoping to include that in our study. Confirmed diagnosis of FA and adequate organ and marrow function. So this is just kidney function. It doesn't have to be perfect, and actually we did a study where we know the majority of you actually have perfectly enough kidney function for this study, and we will be testing your kidney function every 6 months, or actually little more even than that. The platelets more than 40,000, which is enough to support the surgical biopsy. And the exclusion, diabetes that's treated with insulin or other medication. If you are obviously hypersensitive to the study drugs, currently undergoing cancer treatment, or pregnancy. We aim to enroll about 50 patients. So the primary aim of this trial is really safety and tolerability. But we also will look at record participant retention, ability to continue the drug without side effects. We want to know the side effects, adherence to drug regimen. We are also going to have measures of pill count, how often the pills are being taken. We just want to understand what might be challenges in this trial and in other trials. And then secondary aims, we have a lot of them. So we're going to look for cancerous and precancerous lesions from these small biopsies, from that one small biopsy. We are going to look for new oral lesions, the biomarkers that I've mentioned, and this new NanoSeq method. And then we'll look for specific markers to see whether what the drugs that you're taking, metformin and naproxen, that we are changing the biology of the cells, of the mucosal cells, oral cells, that's consistent with how these drugs work. I don't know how much time I have, but I'll be happy to take any questions from any of you. We also have 3 different posters. Frank is here in the back. You can also talk to Frank about this study. He's been involved in working with our IRB to develop this protocol, and also with our scientific advisory board. And I'm very happy that 2 of you will be also advising us throughout this trial. We really appreciate the input from your side, because really this trial cannot happen, any subsequent trials cannot happen without your participation. So thank you.
Can you tell me what the Karnofsky performance scale is?
Oh, Frank, that's a question for you. I have a big...
The Karnofsky performance scale is a very standard scale to make sure that you're healthy enough to participate in a trial. So oftentimes for any cancer treatment trial, they do a similar scale or the Karnofsky itself.
Was the travel was it to the NIH and the UM, or one or the other?
It's to Rockefeller or to University of Minnesota.
Okay.
I mean, we are going to, it will be one trial, so we'll share patients. When you're agreeing to one site, you agree with sharing the samples between, and we'll be doing some of the study. Majority of the molecular studies and staining will be done through us. The samples will be shared. And NIH, what NIH might be able to do for us is actually brush. They cannot have this trial open at this time, but they might brush for us.
I was just wondering, you said it's going to open up in January possibly?
Hopefully, yes.
How do we sign up for that if we want to be involved?
I'm sure we'll have plenty of presence on Facebook through the FCF. We'll definitely be sending information to people who are already in our brushing studies. You also hear from Dr. Apgard if you are seeing Dr. Apgard. I will try to just disseminate this information as wide as possible.
If there's an email list for any of that gets me on your radar, because I don't have Facebook, let me know.
Yes, we got you. Yeah.
Hi, I have a couple questions. One is, doesn't naproxen as a kind of stomach bleeding, I mean, how well is it tolerated for GI, and what is the dosage, do you know? Or
Yeah,
is it
so we'll be definitely looking for changes. In general, they are tolerated very well in general population. If side effects are there, very sort of patient specific. If somebody is truly sensitive to them, that will be seen. As far as what the dosage is, I think it's 440 once a day, right?
It's 440 once a day.
And for metformin, it will be a stepwise increase from 500 to 2,000. Again, just watching the side effects.
Okay, thank you. My second question is, if cancer does arise, would this being on the study preclude being treated by another study?
So if cancer arises, first of all, we'll be definitely referring patients who have developed cancer or have lesions on this histology that are consistent with maybe something that needs to be resected more. We'll be referring to other clinicians. And then the treatment, as long as just a resection, then patients can stay on our study. But if they start taking any like radiation therapy, right, or cancer treatment, then they will be moved to this observational arm.
Yeah, that's right. Any systemic therapy or radiotherapy that we think would change potentially what we're seeing on these biomarkers, for example, then we would continue to observe without any intervention. We would know metformin or naproxen during that time.
But don't a lot of studies require that you be off of other things for a certain amount of time? I mean, maybe not. It seems like most of them I've seen.
Yeah, so we are still discussing how long, for example, if somebody is already on metformin and they want to be on our study, whether they would just go into our observational study or whether we would ask them to be off metformin for 3 months. Yeah, I think we'll be taking a lot of information if what kind of medications patients are on already, right? And we'll sort of gather data. Thank you so much.